Welcome back, guys. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys 4 products from one of my sponsors, Bezel, and we're going to be installing 3 of those 4 products today on my 4Runner. Now, again, if you see anything in this video that you are interested in installing, if you use the code 5Gen4R followed by the number 15, so 5Gen4R15, it'll save 15% off site-wide at bezel.com. Now, the first thing we're going to be looking at is this piece of metal right here. Now, this is a anodized 6061 billet aluminum, so it's been CNCed, and you can see this one's black. They also make a red version of this. What this is a battery hold down. So you can remove your factory OEM battery hold down that holds your battery in place and install this. Now, today's install is going to be on my friend's car because unfortunately I have another sponsor that already sent me parts for my battery, which I installed. So I'm going to be putting their battery hold down on my 4Runner to keep everything uniform. But this is very nice quality. Again, it's 6061 anodized aluminum. It comes in both the black and red finish. And the nice thing about this is it comes with new rods or rails to hold the battery down nice and firm. And it comes with new hardware. This is $21.99 and it is compatible with 2003 all the way to 2024 Toyota 4Runners. And again, not a necessary upgrade, but if you're looking to make your under the hood look a little bit nicer, this is one of those inexpensive mods that you can do, which gives it a little bit of flair. The next thing we're going to be installing on my 4Runner is this power steering reservoir fluid cap. Now, again, just like the battery holder, this is 6061 anodized aluminum, so very nicely built. It's very sturdy. The cap does come with a ventilation hole so that just like the factory one, it will not cause pressure buildup in the pot because you don't want pressure buildup in your power steering pot. So they've taken that into account. It comes with a new gasket on the top, and because it's anodized, if there is anything that drops on this like oil or debris, you can quickly wipe it off and move on with your life. Now, this does come in red or black. I chose red just because I already have some red accents under the hood anyways. But yeah, this is gonna be a quick install. You take the old one off, drop this one in, and tighten it down. So again, one of those aesthetic upgrades, and also it's a little bit sturdier because it's metal, whereas the factory one is plastic, so you don't have to worry about this warping over time or cracking. As far as compatibility goes, you can put this on 2009 to 2024 4Runners. It is compatible with certain year Tacomas, Avalons, and other Toyota vehicles. So if you're interested in this, go to their site and check the compatibility list to let you know if you can put this on your ride. This next item that I'm going to show you guys is what I'm most excited for today. For those of you that have a transfer case dial knob, this is the cap and bezel that you can replace what's currently there with. Toyota's is plastic. This is anodized aluminum. Again, as with the other products we talked about earlier, billet aluminum. It comes CNCed in both anodized red or black. This is compatible for 2014 to 2024 4Runners, and it's super easy to install. You essentially pop the old one out, put this in its place, and then there's 3M tape on the knob itself that you peel off and put over the existing button. And then you have yourself a very nice either red or black transfer case dial knob with bezel for your 4Runner. So really excited to throw this one on there. It'll give a little bit of pop since the interior of my car is all black with carbon fiber accents. It'll be kind of a different change of pace in the vehicle. All right, the last part that I'm gonna show you guys is the part that I'm not installing today. Reason being is my 4Runner has a 3-inch lift and I do not have a jack capable of lifting my car up and removing the rear tire. So what I'm gonna be showing you guys is these rear sway bar links. Now this is a kit, they come in 2. These come both in red or black, again, anodized 6061 billet aluminum. The nice thing about these is they work for stock and lifted 4Runners. So 2003 to 2024, when it's compressed at its closed position, you have 7.48 inches of play, or 190 millimeters. But then for lifted vehicles like myself, where you want this extended because you want your sway bar in the back to be parallel with the ground, you can actually make this come out to 9.15 inches or 232.5 millimeters. So you can essentially adjust the geometry of your rear sway bar by either making this come out more or compressing it based on your needs and your vehicle's stance, if you will, with tires and suspension, the whole 9 yards. So this is gonna be an upgrade because I currently have the stock ones, but I'm also running a 3-inch lift on my vehicle with 34-inch tires. So my sway bar in the rear is not parallel as it should be, it's on an angle. So this will help stabilize everything and make it a smoother ride. Lastly, one thing that I really like about these compared to the stock ones is rather than having rubber bushings, these have polyurethane bushings. So these are gonna be a lot tougher and a lot more durable. They'll last a lot longer than the rubber ones, and they won't crack or degrade on you as quickly as rubber will. So quite the upgrade for these. And like I said, everything is anodized, so you don't have to worry about rust. It's got the coating on it, and you can either go with red to give it a little bit of a pop, or you can go with black, keep everything hidden behind your tire. So I went with red just because I have red accents on the outside of my car, and I figured why not add a little bit more. To remove the existing battery hold down, you're gonna get a deep socket 10 because you have to go past these threaded studs, if you will. So I'm gonna throw the deep socket 10 on here and loosen both sides. You don't have to fully take the nut off of the stud because once it's loose enough, you can just take the hooks out from the bottom like so and keep it as one. One thing we didn't take into account is my buddy's got a lead battery. And for those of you that have lead batteries, you know that there's these little breather holes that protrude from the battery, whereas I have an AGM battery, mine is nice and flush. Doesn't mean you can't use this, but you're gonna have to do a little bit of modifying. So we took a razor blade, and with the vent ports, with the biggest nubs, if you will, parallel with the battery, we removed the small nubs. So we just pushed down on them and then went sideways and flung 3 nubs off on each side. Not really gonna make a huge difference, but what that allows is for this to sit nice and flush now with a lead battery. And then when my friend upgrades his battery to an AGM one, he won't have that concern again in the future. So I put this here just to prevent any kind of arcing with metal, but now comes time for installing these metal posts. Now you're gonna take the longer post and put it in the front, and I don't know if you can zoom in here, but there's a hole right down here where this is just gonna slide into, and then you're gonna drop this right on top of it. So something like that. So to get this rear stud or post, if you will, installed, you can just tilt your battery away and then drop it into the plastic retainer like so, and then pull up and you'll hear it lock in place. And then you can shift your battery back on the tray and now take the billet aluminum and slide it essentially over top and put that stud through the billet aluminum hole like so. With those 2 pieces lined up and under, or I guess inside the billet aluminum, we're now going to take the washers, and the front one likes to drop, so I'm just keeping pressure on it, but we're going to drop the washers in place, and then we're going to take these nuts. I don't know what the exact terminology for those is, but I'm going to just start them on each. That way it's nice and even. So now that they're started on each, you can essentially hand tighten these down to your liking. And the nice thing is that locking washer underneath will prevent any sort of vibration in the future. Now, one thing that I do like about this setup compared to what was on there before is if you, for whatever reason, need to take your battery off, apart from having to take these connections off on the positive and negative, you can just remove this and move your battery around. So 2 less bolts you have to do. You can do this by hand now. That's the install for the battery. I think it looks nicer. You can see it's nice and sturdy. It's not moving around, and it looks a little bit nicer than this OEM piece. So again, if you have a lead battery, you might have to cut into the little breather holes, just the tabs that are on it. But apart from that, you're really not modifying the battery. And for those of you like myself that have an AGM battery, you don't have these, so you just drop it in place and you're good to go. All right, the power steering fluid cap install is super easy. You're going to turn yours counterclockwise, pull it up. My fluid does look really dark from the outside of the reservoir, but it's actually not that bad once you look at it. So I'm gonna clean that later, but you're essentially gonna take your new one, make sure there's nothing on that stem, and then drop it in place. And once you find that drop down, like I just did, I don't know if you can see that, you're then gonna turn clockwise, and it is now locked in place. So nice and sturdy, not going anywhere. And again, it has that built-in breather hole so that this pot does not over-pressurize, keeps it nice and neutral. All right, to remove the transfer knob bezel, what you're gonna do is essentially grab the cup holder and you're gonna pull up, and that will free the tabs. And keep in mind that there is a wiring connection to that knob, but once you loosen the tabs by pulling up, you can then unplug that connection. All right, so with this removed from the car, it's super simple to remove it from the actual trim piece. If you get a pry tool like this and you push here, here, and here, these are little clips. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Put a little pressure on it, on this one, put a little pressure on this one. You can hear them kind of clipping in and out of place. And then put a little pressure on this one. You can also put your thumb on the component and see how the pressure causes it to come out once you hit these little tabs. There's a tab here, there's a tab here, and a tab here. So if you push on this while you're pushing these 3 tabs, it will force it out the front like so. Now, what you're going to do is grab your little pry tool and you're gonna stick it in between these little tabs right here, and go nice and slow, that way you don't break your existing trim if you ever wanna go back to stock. But you're essentially going to put it underneath these tabs and lift up, and that will free this trim piece from the actual knob itself. And to take this knob off, you can just pull straight up like that. So now this is removed. Keep in mind the direction where this sits, because you want to lay it exactly how you had it. So again, this was like so, so I'm going to take this off like this and then just pop this metal one in place. And you really can't screw it up, because if you look around the edges, it is cut out one way. So you're just going to firmly press on this, make sure every side lines up and clicks. Just waiting on this one right here. There we go. So now this is in place, and for the knob, it's really simple. There's a piece of 3M on it with a pry tool or something sharp to get an edge. You're just going to lift up on it. So I took a razor blade, lifted one of the edges up, and now it's far enough where I can just put it to the side. Now that the 3M tape cover is off, you're gonna take the arrow, line it up with this little line right here, and you're gonna push down on that button so you can slide it over. So you're gonna push down firmly on it, make sure it's lined up nicely on both sides with the edges. Give it a little bit of pressure, and then you're simply going to take it and put your selector back down. Now we have the billet aluminum case on the knob, and then we have that inlay or the surrounding metal. And if you push the button and turn, you can go into 4 high, And then if you push the button and then push down on the actual knob itself, you can go into 4 low. So again, one of those simple mods that just makes the inside look different and, you know, is a cheap upgrade. I'll show you guys how to install this now in the vehicle. Same as before, you're going to line up this trim piece along with the knob, and then once it falls into its groove, just push on it, and now it's in place. And then to get this installed on the vehicle, we're gonna plug that connection back in and then just push this down. So I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, we're gonna take this connection right here and make sure we hear that click. And now we're just going to literally drop it in place. You heard the clicks. It's nice and locked in place. We're gonna test it real quick. It all works and goes nice and smooth. So again, you gotta push to go to 4 low, and then you do not have to go from 4 high to 2 high. But again, it works nice and smooth, and I think it's one of those pretty cheap upgrades that makes it look, you know, it makes it pop. Because before I just had OEM one, this just gives it a little bit of flair in the car versus everything else that's black. So there you have it, guys. That was the very quick install of the battery hold down billet aluminum from Bezel. The second thing we installed was the power steering cap for the little reservoir. And then the third thing we installed was the transfer case dial knob along with the bezel. Those took maybe 5 minutes to install. It took longer to film than it did to install the items. Little modifications that were more so for aesthetically pleasing reasons more than anything, but they give a little bit of character and flair to your car. So if you're looking to change how your car looks, whether having it be black anodized or red anodized metal, these are options that you can choose from. Just a quick reminder, if you are interested in purchasing any of the items that you saw in this video, if you use the code 5Gen4R15 on Bezel's site, it will save you 15% off site-wide. So keep that in mind, especially with Black Friday coming up. If you use that code, you'll save 15%. And as always, guys, if you found this video useful, entertaining, helpful, or if you saw an item that maybe yourself or a friend might like, please send it to them. And then don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe on my channel. Your guys' interactions allow me to continue making these videos for you guys. So again, thank you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.